Welcome to ATI Pro Media. It's Monday, March 10th. Looks like we might be having some technical issues. We're not streaming to Twitter, but I think we'll get that figured out. We're going to go ahead anyway. You can always watch the recording instead of watching live. But had some news headlines over the weekend. A lot for our neighbors up north. They've got a new prime minister, right? Mark Carney. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then also we saw China, right? Here's the word. It's Monday. We'll start the week all over again. But it's not U.S. tariffs, right? China imposed tariffs, 100% tariffs on certain goods, especially canola. Canola was limited down overnight. Big move there on that 100% Canadian imports to China. And so other thing, we had some historic moves in fund positioning, especially in corn, right? Big short covering, really getting out a lot of their longs like we were talking about. And so with that, drop a comment, anything else you want to talk about. More than happy to jump into it. We do have a USDA report, right? Don't forget about that. It is easy to, we'll have that tomorrow. And with that, Brady, you want to quote us up on the markets?
Yeah, let's get going. Oh, I'm on the other side. Look at that. Wow.
Whoa.
Okay. We can do this. We can roll like this. All right. March corn, May corn. Let's go to May corn. May corn up a penny, 4.70 1/4. May beans down 8.5, giving it all back here. Started yesterday open green, and now we're red, down 8.25, 10.16 3/4. New crop beans down 6.25, 10.19 1/4. Still got a 10 handle on it, boys and girls. Soy oil's down $1, 42.37. Soy meal down 50 points at 303.90. Looking at your wheat markets, May Chicago wheat up 10.5 cents. May wheat is the winner, 5.61 3/4. KC wheat up 14.25, 5.79 on your May KC wheat futures. Looking at July KC wheat futures, 5.90 3/4, up 13.5 cents. Feeder cattle, a little weaker, down 90 points. April is 277.27.5. Over in your fat cattle side of things, April fats are up 55 points, 282. Got that $2 handle back. Good to see. Lean hogs, a little weaker on the April, but firmer on the back months. Looking over your crude market, crude is down 30 points at 66.75 a barrel. Diesel down 1.50 Nat gas up 7.5 cents. Your macro market, that's where a lot of the news is at too. The Dow down 290, the S&P down 96, the NASDAQ down 500 points here this morning, 19,722. Russell 30 points weaker. Bitcoin down 6,000, 81,000 on your Bitcoin futures. Gold's down, silver's mixed, and the U.S. dollar a little bit weaker as well here, Connor B.
Good stuff, man. When I look at, especially, corn, soybeans, wheat, my bread and butter, when I'm staring at them, we feel a little directionless, not a whole lot of direction, right? We got the tariff news that it's off, that it's on, a lot of headline risk, and then still kind of waiting to see. So I don't know. Could be, with the USDA report tomorrow, again, it is historically one we kind of gloss over, right? Especially myself. I look at the that end of March prospective plannings, but we do have one tomorrow. And, just because it maybe isn't usually a market mover, it doesn't mean anything when we're talking about USDA reports. So keep that in mind. And, that'll be out at 11 tomorrow.
Yep. Another thing to watch here that could potentially shift your markets and move things around a little bit. So got to watch out for the unexpected right now. We sometimes it seems like we just regurgitate the same headlines. All of us as analysts, we talk this, we're hyper focused on this, and then out of the blue something comes in unexpected. But the trade war, the tariffs, the macro market, we've been highlighting this of, hey, buckle up and prepare for this type of uncertainty for a while now. So we can't act like we're completely surprised by it going forward. But
yep. Hey, do you want a fresh headline, a new one? Let's ask Joe, who won Illinois Purdue basketball? I can't remember. Look, Illinois pulled out the win. I didn't have faith in them.
Joe's giving you some sign language down below. Did you see the sign language there? That was good stuff.
Oh man! All right, back to it. Hey, we had a flash. Speaking of same news, but we like reading these ones. Flash sale: 126,000 metric ton of corn sold to Japan, and 195,000 soybeans sold to unknown destinations. So, two good flash sales again. We'll take them all day, especially any of those soybean sales, right? It'd be nice to see a little pop. We'll have export inspections out this afternoon, but yeah, we'll take it.
I like that corn sale to Japan. That kind of highlights Dr. Schonkweller's tweet or comment last week about the U.S. competitiveness to the Far East and Southeast Asia on the corn front. The bean sale to unknown, though, I'm very curious where that went, and always good to see a bean sale this time of year. We talk about that, your inspections when, shipments and sales, they just tail off here this time of year as Brazil comes at number one player. But a bean sale to unknown, that's a big win this time of year.
Absolutely. And so, let's keep moving right along, right? We're having issues going to Twitter today.
Sucks to not be on Twitter, but oh well.
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, here we go. COT report, and we saw it coming with that sell-off. We knew the funds definitely reduced their long positions, but it was a big one, Brady. Managed funds on the week were net sellers of 118,000 corn to reduce their net long to 220,000, net sellers of 44,000 beans to push that position to a net short of 35,000. Let's look at chart form.
Okay.
Let's get that off there. And so look at that black line, just a big drop there when we're looking at the fund positioning. So here I've got some additional facts for you is that that net selling of 118,000 was the second largest ever, behind 147,000 contracts was the record. We hit that in Feb 28 of 2023. But I think the overall message is that the sell-off, right, over 100,000 of that 118,000 was the reduction in gross longs. So what that means is that, funds that were long, right, we saw a reduction. We saw that short covering, right? We didn't necessarily see a whole lot of new shorts enter the space, right? It was overwhelmingly longs exiting their position. So, what could we infer that is that maybe it's not necessarily a super bearish move. It's just a little bit they're taking profits ahead of these, kind of headline risk. And so reducing that. So definitely interesting, right? Usually when we see big sell-offs, it's kind of 50-50, 60-40, not overwhelmingly just exiting the long positions they have.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And I'm glad you brought that up, Connor. I like looking at the commitment of traders data that way. One, looking at that net position, but two, looking at the underlying, did we add shorts? Did we get out of longs? And, exiting those longs, that long liquidation, like you said, yeah, it's just imagine how steep of a cliff that move would have been if we were adding shorts as well as we were getting out of those longs too. It would have been even more dramatic too. So.
Yes, absolutely. But I think we did have fun, actually toward the end of the week, I think we saw a little bit of fun buying. Not much, but just a little bit, right? Into the week. Let's get the playbook, right? Tariffs on, tariffs off. End of the week, we kind of saw the tariffs off, saw the market rebound a little bit, but yeah.
You sell off like we did, you're going to have a bounce, right? You have a bounce from somewhere. So is this just a dead cat bounce, or is this a retracement, a correction of an oversold type of move? That to me is one of the biggest questions going forward this week is, what's the next move here? Are we going to route, find some stability here in these markets, or are we going to roll over and test those lows again here? If you look at the stock market too, I think that gives you maybe some clues as to some of the fear and uncertainty going forward, big picture out there, as the stock market's still kind of on the lows here in testing those out of the gate this week.
Definitely. Well, hey, you want to shift our focus? We got a few headlines for our neighbors up north.
Okay.
Right. And so I think the first one, right, it feels good. We'll talk about tariffs, not necessarily that the U.S. was set to impose, but we saw China set 100% tariffs on Canada, right? It's kind of a retaliatory tariff. We saw Canada.
China.
And so, Canada started it, right? They had tariffs on, it was electric vehicles, and then China retaliated. And the one, the headline, I think that is the main one, right? They put tariffs on different goods, but the main one is going to be this canola market, right? We saw canola limit down, take a very negative tone overnight because of that 100% tariff.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Trade wars. Gotta love them.
Yeah, here we go. Here's what I was looking for. The levies follow 125% tariffs Canada imposed on Chinese-made electric vehicles and steel last year, right? And we did I don't know if it was 100%, but we saw that right with the Biden administration last year. We did the same thing. We saw tariffs imposed on Chinese electric vehicles.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a canola expert, Connor B. So I was trying to look at canola. You guys were talking about that. I was trying to even look at canola quotes, and I can't even. They're not loading up on my platform, so I can't even quote you up on those.
Yeah, we don't grow a lot of canola in Central Illinois either, but and so the tariffs effective March 20th come in tandem with the 25% duty on Canadian aquatic products and pork, worth $1.6 billion. So pork, aquatic products, canola, all kinds of things. So limit down canola, right? Big headline. And so other one is that we do have a new prime minister in Canada, right? Mark Carney won the race to become leader of Canada's ruling Liberal Party and will succeed Justin Trudeau as prime minister. And so Mark Carney, what I saw about him, he's a former central banker, right? You mentioned it. It's crazy that Prime Minister Trudeau was in there for 9 years.
Yeah, it's wild to me. 9-year run here, ends his 9-year run at the helm there at Power. So kind of a crazy stretch there. 9 years, that's a long time.
Yeah. So the other thing is that this wasn't an election, right? He stepped down, and so Carney's a member of the Liberal Party. He succeeds, and then they will have an election by October, I saw.
October, okay. Well, that's interesting. As you know, we jockey around here the geopolitics and the bilateral type trade agreements and all that stuff. If there was a conservative prime minister that jumped in there, just a different, fresh face to negotiate with Trump and get some stuff going. Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel between now and then of making a little better headway between the two countries on stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. His opening speech, just reading through it, was definitely, here's a direct quote: "My government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect." And so, I'm sure he's willing to come to the table and start the discussion. But, his opening speech was definitely a little bit, we're not backing down is kind of the vibe I got.
So no tone or sentiment change until that election and seeing where things go there.
I don't think so.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Well, we got a Carney man in town. That's good to know.
All right. What else we got?
I don't know these markets. You keep your eye on the U.S. dollar. I guess that's something in my notes. I guess is the U.S. dollar moving around in your stock markets and macro market stuff. That's fresh on my mind here. The euro's heavily weighted in that dollar index and part of your big mover. The other currencies like your yen and the peso and the real, not quite as dynamic as the euro dollar trade right now. If you go and look at specific currencies in that index, but a lot of stuff happening on the macro front, it seems like, Connor B. But we can't ignore the WASD tomorrow and the rest of the week just playing out with the headlines, everything. I'm hoping these grain markets can find some footing. I was a little more optimistic last night with the open, but beans rolling over here out of the gate, probably pulled down by the canola trade, weighing on things.
Yeah. It's all, the fundamentals, looking at that, right? The USDA report, can they change, U.S. carry out in any commodity? Absolutely. But it's always important, right? Brazil, South America is going to be the big one. Probably a little early to see any bump in terms of corn production. We could certainly see the area increase or something like that. But soybeans, right? Are they going, they haven't touched that Brazil soybean production number for the last 2, maybe even 3, but at least the last 2 USDA reports. Are we going to see, something that shocks us there? I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, good call out. You never know what they're going to print. You never know how the trade's going to react to it. So be prepared. And don't don't outguess where these things can go and how they can trade. I think the temptation here is, hey, we've had a nasty sell-off and there's a lot of people trying to pick bottoms and catch a falling knife and know what your risk is going forward and stay disciplined to managing your positions and covering your butt and what makes you have a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, and a bad year. Because that's our job, is to help you have a good year and not have a bad year.
I like it. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, right? It feels weird not streaming to Twitter.
It does. We'll get it figured out and back online here for the rest of the week, though. We'll get it taken care of.
Yep, definitely. Okay.
Thanks, Connor B.
Yep. Everyone have a good one. Bye.